Alright, so lucky everyone, I have a plan for this video, right? I just wrote down a few points in sticky notes. So, what are the worst things you can do for gym progress, right? And this video is for myself as well, right? Because recently I've been slacking and I gotta get my head in the game again, right? Number one, well, not number one, all of these things are like pretty important. But when I say number one, I mean like, firstly, being inconsistent with your workouts. I feel like that is like, ooh, you know, this is gonna be difficult to make progress if you're inconsistent. The best way to become more consistent is just follow a program and stick to it, right? I don't know what happens in everyone's individual lives, but you gotta make everything consistent. You gotta make it structured, right? That doesn't mean you can't have fun, right? It just means at around the same time every day, or like same times in the week. For example, Monday 4 p.m., Tuesday 3 p.m., Wednesday 9 p.m., and you repeat that in a cycle, you're just sort of doing the same thing, right? And you're slowly making progress, right? So that's what I mean by a consistent program, right? Being consistent. You just have to show up and do the work, right? This comes with consistency. The more consistent you are, the more intense you'll be able to push your work. The more intensely you'll be able to push yourselves during your workouts. When I was in high school, right, I saw a lot of people train, right? I like when I started gym, I started properly training when I was like 12 years old, right? So and back then I was training to failure. I knew intensity. I learned intensity very young. The number one mistake I saw people do in my high school, they just didn't train intensely enough. I remember I went to a couple of gym classes, and these people, they just like, no shade on them, no shade at all, but they just didn't have that passion, that power, that drive. It's like the meme, training to mild discomfort. That's sort of what I took from it. And it sort of showed with like their strength, their form, just everything. It felt like they were there for the social aspect of it, right? Completely fine if that's your own personal choice. But if you wanted to maximize progress, the gym shouldn't be a social place as your main priority. The gym as your main priority must be the place where you gain a stimulus, right? So you got to train intensely, you got to train hard, right? That doesn't mean RP 10 every set. It just means, yeah, not half-assing it, training short to failure or at failure. You don't have to do drop sets. You don't have to go beyond failure. You just have to push yourself to a point where you actually can or are close to reaching failure. If you want to make the best muscle growth, right? For strength, it's similar, but you wouldn't. But the failure is a little bit different. But this is like a topic for another day. The difference between training for strength and training for hypertrophy. Right now, like I'm big, but I want to get a little bit bigger before I start doing strength training again. So 2 more months of like proper hypertrophy training, and then I'll move back to strength. But regardless, as I spoke before, I mentioned a little bit on volume. Volume matters not as much as intensity, right? People think volume is the be all end all. Oh, I just have to do 8 reps with 70% of my 1 rep max. But like, unless you're starting a program, that's not really gonna help you. You're not really gonna make some meaning. You're not really gonna make meaningful adaptations by doing like that. Either way, that doesn't really matter. You gotta do enough volume, right? but you also can't do too much volume, if that makes sense. You want to try find a nice balance between like actual stimulating work and just like fluff. Like, because the fluff isn't really going to help you with anything. I remember when I started, definitely, I do feel like for beginners, more volume, less weight. Like, of course, you can't even do the weight. You can only do the volume as a beginner, right? As a beginner, I would say you should probably aim for 30, 40 sets. Actually, no, 20 to 25 sets per muscle group per week. That's pretty good, right? I personally did like 40, 40, 50, and I made good progress. So just whatever keeps you in the gym as a beginner, that's what you got to do, right? But my general advice for a beginner is more volume is better, okay? You just got to get the hang of the ropes. Uh, Anyways, that's in the gym. Outside of the gym, you gotta focus on diet. Diet is like it is true when people say diet is half the work of the gym, maybe even more. Because if you ooh, water. But if you don't eat enough food, you're gonna feel lethargic, right? If you don't eat enough food before the gym, you're not gonna be able to push yourself 100%. If you don't eat food after the gym, you're not gonna give your body the like just the raw resources to recover, right? I love making videos. I love talking to the camera because I get thirsty so quickly. And it just gives me a reason to actually chug on water. But you gotta eat high quality food, right? You can't just I mean you can and still make progress, but you're better off if you eat high quality nutritious foods. Ooh, that's a lot better than eating McDonald's slop, right? What I recommend is, well, what I can't really recommend anything on diet, just as long as it's just mostly good food. If you follow the 80-20 rule, 80% like just good food, 20% garbage. It just started suddenly pouring. That's crazy. Um, I mean, if you follow the 80-20 rule, I feel like you're gonna do fine, right? As you get more advanced, like you do have to be a little bit more smart and a little bit more strategic with what you eat. But that's like 5, 10 years down the line. In the first 5 years, the diet, just as long as you mostly stay consistent and you eat enough food to like put on weight, you should be fine, right? Another thing, ooh, water. You have to drink water, right? This is like everything on this is a non-negotiable, but this is a really non-negotiable. If you don't drink water, you're just fucked. You're just fucked if you don't drink water. There are a couple of reasons why. Um, I'm gonna go into the more anecdotal reasons why you have to drink a lot of water, like more than you need, more water than you need, right? In the morning, of course, it's summer right now. I sweat balls, right? I wake up, my mouth is dry, my lips are parched, my skin is like, when you sweat and your skin just has like that feeling on it. That's what I feel every morning, right? I sweat like crazy. I got the fan on right now as well. So you have to drink water, right? I'm not really giving a reason why you have to drink water though. Um, okay. In the morning, I get insane brain fog, right? The best thing that fixes that is like 2, 3 cups of water, like 400, 600 mils of water. Just chug that right away. And then I can take a deep breath. My stomach, it expands a little bit. I feel pretty good in the morning. And then it gets my appetite going like crazy too. Oh my God, when you drink water, like I don't know why, you drink water, your appetite is just like, okay, we have to go eat something now. We have to eat something too, right? So it's nice. It's nice being able to drink water and then get an appetite as well, because then you get your diet and you get your water, right? So it's like a two in one. But yeah, no, if you don't drink enough water, number one, you're gonna feel like shit, right? You're gonna feel disgusting. In the back of your eyes, like the muscles in the back of your eyes, they're gonna feel so strange. You're gonna get headaches like crazy. You're gonna get body aches like crazy. Like you don't have enough fluid in your muscles and your joints to like make everything efficient, lubricated, feel nice. Ooh, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. And the inflammation, do you get more inflammation? I'm gonna have to research that in my own time, but I'm going to assume that more water leads to less inflammation. So, in short, just drink your water and eat your food, right? Another really important thing to like maximize your gym progress, or well, worst things you can do for gym progress, not having enough sleep. If you don't, and not only that, not having a consistent sleep schedule, right? I cannot stress enough how good you feel when you have a consistent sleep schedule. Oh, magnificent, magnificent. Because you're able to actually go to sleep without feeling like an insomniac at the same time every night. So you actually have that structure, right? Your days generally will feel a little bit more fulfilled when you have a consistent time when you go to sleep. You're like, okay, I will sleep at 12. Oh my God, that's a bit late because I usually sleep at like 12, 1 a.m. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. I want to try and make it more like 11:30, 12, but I don't know why I don't fully fix my sleep schedule. I think it's because the conversations you have at night with just like on people with social media, they're just better. Like at night, people are usually a lot less inhibited, and the topics of conversation can actually delve into something a little bit deeper, right? And that happens usually more naturally when it's night as well. People just feel less sheltered in their actual feelings. So, I like having conversations with people. I like it when people just open up, but that doesn't really relate to the gym. So, ugh. You want to try average 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And this is something I was learning a little bit recently, actually. Women, especially, especially during like the menstrual cycle, they they need more sleep, right? 8 to 9 hours is like for some girls going through the menstrual cycle, it's not enough. They need to take like a nap through the day as well because the body is just going through so much. The very sudden hormonal changes and like the actual shedding of the tissue, it's tough, right? It's tough. So this is my personal opinion, and it's like I was talking about before, the conversations with friends, like during nights, they get a little bit better. Um, I definitely do think that the work the work schedule should be changed so that especially like so that sleep definitely becomes a bigger priority, because what's the point of what's the point of a worker being on 6 hours of sleep and being like they have brain fog, they're physically tired, they like it takes them an hour or two to actually like wake up, right, and actually start being productive. I think the work-life balance should change and be structured more to the individual rather than like I don't know how to explain this, but especially for women going through the like menstrual cycle. I sound like one of those fucking like those redditors. Well, tampons should be free, but um for that specifically, it definitely should be. Mm, the days, the work days, the work times should be more catered towards the individual and how the individual feels. Because if it is catered towards the individual, they will be more productive. They will be more recovered. They will be able to do more with the time you give them, and they will love your company more, and they will love working more. Love working, that's crazy. But the point stands, like, sleep is like so important. It's for your brain. If you don't get enough sleep, and everyone, if you reach this far, you know this. If you don't get enough sleep, you feel like shit. Duh. Duh. You feel disgusting. You feel like shit if you don't get enough sleep. So, personal opinions aside, do the best you can to try get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. If you need more, like you genuinely need more, like especially uh for like, you know, the women going through the menstrual cycle and like going through the periods, please, please ensure you get enough sleep. All right. Anyways, little side rant about like the current workscape. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit exhausted, but I only have 1 point left. Stress. There's recently been a meme going around of like high and low cortisol, but this is something that's just been here for like the entire human like existence. Stress is devastating. It is devastating because there's no worse feeling than waking up with like this just instinctual gut feeling that something is wrong, with like the constant anxiousness of the worst possible thing occurring. It's, and how that affects your gym progress as well. Dude, recently I've been like stressed beyond belief, right? And I feel it in the gym. I feel how disgusting I feel. I feel how disgusting I feel. No shit, but the feeling of disgust, the feeling of anxiousness, the feeling of like your mental and physical resources being drawn to some like overthinking because of like an elevated cortisol level. It's, you can't lock in, you can't put in the intensity, you don't want to put in the intensity, you don't want to do the volume, you want to stop the gym early, you just want to lay down, you just want to just not. Stress is a killer, right? Literally, it literally kills you. It kills you slowly. I forgot what the graph was, but in certain circumstances, stress is a good thing, right? A slight elevated cortisol level, especially like when you need to get work done, is good, right? When you have a goal, you always have like that anxiousness to want to do something, but you can't let that control your life. You can't let the stress negatively impact your life. You should do your best to manage your stress and to ensure that you use your stress in a productive manner. If you feel like, I'll be honest, I feel a little bit stressed right now, right? And what I feel is productive, recording a video and like informing, you know, the one or two viewers of the importance of like keeping a level head. So, um, yeah, that's about it. There definitely is some more things I can speak about, but to quickly recap, to quickly recap, You got to be consistent. You have to train like with intensity, with purpose. Purpose leads to goals. Goals are they're a separate topic, right? Having goals is a very good thing. Just letting you know. So consistency, intensity, volume. Volume matters less than these first two, but it still is on the pedestal. It still is important. You need to do your volume. Um, your diet, it doesn't have to be like tip top shape for like 100% all the time. If I don't do it, I'm a fucking failure. I'm a fucking chud. I think that's the word. I think that's the word used, chud. But my hair fell. But your diet needs to be generally good, right? And you do need like I'll make another video actually, like maybe tomorrow, on like the importance of a good good microbiome in the stomach, how that affects your mentality, how that affects like everything else. Your prebiotics, your dairy, your probiotics, like you need a good range of bacteria in the stomach because that just generally makes your entire life better. I wish there was more research done on this. Maybe that's what I'll do my university research on, but then I'll have to get people to fucking shit in the little cups and I'll have to like check. I mean, I mean, it'll be worth it if I go for my master's, maybe. But high quality food generally and a good diet. Hydration. Take another sip here. That's nice. You need good hydration. Electrolytes, they don't matter as much as you think, especially during colder days. During hotter days, like, I feel like the only time you need to take electrolytes is one packet in the morning just to get everything on the top again. But generally, you're gonna get most of your like salts, your potassium, your magnesium, your sodium, magnesium, potassium. There's one more. It's not zinc. Oh, looks like that is it. But yeah, you need the range of like different salts and different minerals in your electrolytes. But only if you're like severely dehydrated, you've been out all day sweating your balls off or sweating your pussy off, I don't know, like sweating your tits off. Um, Generally, if you drink mineral water, you'll get enough minerals, but like good diets, preferably like a mineral water or like a good water source, that will work best for you. And yeah, anyways, sleep. You need good sleep. You need consistent sleep. You can't keep fucking over your circadian rhythm. That's gonna fuck with you. That's gonna fuck with you. Oh my fucking god. You're gonna get fucked if you don't have a good sleep schedule. Fuck. Anyways, and last thing, stress. You have to manage your stress. You have to, when you're stressed, you have to do what you can to not drown in your sorrow because life is stressful. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Life is a struggle. It is a struggle to do stuff. It is stressful to do stuff. But it's okay because you'll manage your stress. You'll talk to people. You'll hang out with your friends. You'll do some productive work. You'll feel good about yourself. One last point about stress and sleep. The more stressed you are, just the worse you will sleep. I speak about sleep quantity, but I didn't really speak much about the quality of sleep. good sleep hygiene is important, right? The best thing you can do for your sleep is don't like the best thing you can do is just have a consistent sleep schedule. But for some people that won't work. Like it's a bit difficult. So the next best thing you can do, get off the phone. Get off the phone. Like this is something I've been seeing a lot of people do recently. I'm so happy. But get off the phone and like go outside, talk with your friends, delete social media. Social media is like, it's a leech. It leeches off your like energy and your time. Of course, in moderation, yes, social media is good, right? It can get you motivated, it can get you inspired, but generally, social media is addicting, and you should try not to use it as much as possible. Anyways, that's a 26-minute video on the worst things you can do for gym, and also a small thing about like the menstrual cycle and like how the current like work situation or like work timetable should focus more towards individuals. I'll make a like 5-minute video on that another day, but like when I gather more thoughts about it, right now it's like the thoughts are very rudimentary. I should have mentioned that before. These thoughts are rudimentary. I will not be able to explain them well. This is just my opinion, and my rudimentary opinion, right? Very surface level. Eventually I will, study and learn and actually be able to formulate a more cohesive thought, a cohesive argument, and not something that's like. I don't mean to insult anyone, nor do I mean to uh, cause separation between like the genders. That is like the last thing I want to do. The last thing I want to do is make someone feel bad for like whatever gender, male or female, whichever one they are. Right? Either way, if you made it this far, thanks. Right? Thank you. I feel like this definitely is the best rant video yet. So, thank you. Thanks for watching. See ya.